It's decision week for a lot of colleges and universities, and students are making that final decision on where to go. I'm here to give you the top 10 tips for college success. I worked in higher education for a number of years and continue to teach undergraduate and MBA courses in business, law, finance, and economics. That provides one perspective for this analysis. The other is that I've got a doctorate, 3 master's degrees, a bachelor's degree, and another doctorate with the dissertation pending in education on the way. So I've spent a lot of time as a student in higher education as well. Success in a high school doesn't always result in success in college, and vice versa. I was a much stronger college student than I was a high school student. College may be another learning environment, but there are a lot of differences between what's going to make you successful in high school and what's going to make you successful in college. Most of the professors in college aren't overly concerned with your success. We have pressure to publish, to do research, to work on committees, provide service. So you're expected to take on responsibility for your own success. That doesn't mean professors don't care. It just means that their priority is not just teaching in the classroom, but has a lot of other components around education, teaching, service, and research that makes teaching only part of their job, as opposed to high school where that is the teacher's predominant job. You're expected to take the responsibility for your success, and classes move a lot faster. What might be a 1-year course in high school would be a 1-semester course, or maybe even a 1-quarter course in college. So things are going to move very quickly. Whether you're starting college right after high school or you're going back to school after spending some time between educational experiences, these tips are going to help you. And I taught both traditional undergraduates as well as non-traditional students, most of which were service members who were going back to get their MBA or undergraduate degrees. And these success tips are going to be universal. So I'm going to give you the professor's top 10 tips for college success. Number 1 is choose your classes and professors wisely. If you're attending a big university where the faculty is involved in research, professors aren't there because of their teaching skills. They're there because they're experts in a field and because of their research and the publications that they're expected to write or that they've written in the past. They may spend a significant amount of time on the road doing presentations and lecturing at other universities and appearing on the news and working on government committees. So they're not there predominantly to teach. They're there predominantly for the academic research that goes into building the body of knowledge. A lot of those professors are focused on research grants as well, particularly if you're in the sciences. The professors in the sciences, your best professors in the sciences, especially at large research-oriented institutions, will maybe teach 1 class a year and spend most of their time doing research and publishing papers to provide additional information to the world as to what's evolving in biology, chemistry, et cetera. A lot of the research that's been done around COVID-19 has been done in both academic as well as government lab settings. Do some research before you choose your schedule, because if you're looking for one of those experiences where the professor knows your name and the classes are small and intimate and the professor's primary focus is teaching, you may, 1, not be a good fit for that large research institution, university with the big name, or 2, you may want to take a look and see what that teacher or professor's reputation is, and you may want to choose one that's more aligned to what you're trying to get out of the course. Number 2, attend class regularly. You might not have had to study in high school. You might have been able to just sit there, get by, and regurgitate onto a piece of paper and do good enough. You're going to have to in college. And in high school, you've got a much more diverse, intellectually diverse group of people in those classes. You don't have a lot of choice in the classes that you're taking, and everybody, for the most part, particularly if you went to public high school like I did, everybody gets in. In college, it stratifies, and that stratification is largely based upon academic ability. And so what might have made you an above average student in high school will make you a very below average student in a select college. It's imperative to attend classes. professors emphasize the most important information in class. You can try and read the book, you can try and watch some lectures, you can try and do the study on your own, but really the professor is going to emphasize what they feel is most important in class. That's also likely to be what they're going to be looking for on exams and in papers. Skipping classes are going to result in you studying the wrong topics. You might also catch a break on your grade if your class attendance has been excellent and you've participated, because the professor is going to know that you're there. They're going to have seen your participation, and professors are human. So participation in the class and showing interest can tend to give you a half point to 1 point grade increase, just because if there's subjectivity in the grading, particularly when you're looking at things like papers and essays, etc. If the professor felt like you might have known the material in class but couldn't convey it over in writing as well, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Asking one intelligent question a day will ensure that you're making a good impression on a professor. Conversely, asking one stupid question a day just to kind of get face time with the professor is they're going to see through that pretty easily. Number 3, make friends and get involved. You have a new life now with new people at college, and that doesn't matter if you're living on campus, off campus, or whether a commuter. Get involved in campus life so you feel at home. There's a lot of clubs, there's a lot of sporting activities, there's extracurricular activities, there's student government. A few activities and the friends that you'll make by participating in those activities will make you feel more at home. Increased comfort will make it easier to concentrate on your studies, and 2, make it easier to complete. There's a lot of folks who go to college and never finish, and they end up with student loans and student debt, and they never get done. And the value of the education, in large part, especially if you're going to a college, is to get the piece of paper. I'll talk more about that in some other videos, but really, make friends, get involved, and get completed. Number 4, ask for help before you're in serious trouble. All professors and TAs, teaching assistants, have office hours. Sometimes they're hard to pin down on those office hours. Sometimes those office hours are really small, but they're all supposed to have office hours. The professors who tend to not have broad office hours and your larger lectures will have TAs, teaching assistants, who are usually graduate students who are teaching undergrads or assisting with the teaching of undergrads and are pursuing their doctorate. The TAs may be your best choice to be able to get some extra help. Make good use of them. Larger universities, and even smaller ones like the one that I work for, have tutoring available, often for free. There's a student resource center or student success center. Go there and ask for help. The sooner you ask for help, the less help you're going to need. You'll also minimize your stress. All those resources are available to you. Use them. Number 5, avoid being anonymous. Ensure that your professor knows who you are. The easiest way is to introduce yourself during the first couple of weeks during office hours. Just swing by, say hi, say, hey, my name is Madeline. I'm really enjoying your class. Or, my name's Madeline. I'm in your Econ 201 class. Just wanted to stop by and introduce myself. There may be a little bit of chit chat, but that's it. You don't need to, kind of share life stories. But it's a good way for the professor to kind of put a face with a name, especially in a larger organization or a larger class, and you'll show some level of interest, which again goes back to I know Madeline, she stopped by a couple times, and she's at the cusp of a B+, A-. I'm going to give her the A- because I can tell she's engaged. Make return visits every few weeks. Just kind of pop in, say hi. Again, professors are people too, and they like people to be engaged, and be sure to participate actively in classes we already discussed. Number 6 is be on time. Most professors are sensitive to signs of disrespect. They've spent a significant amount of their life devoted to their work, devoted to the research that they do, devoted to preparing their classes. This is their world. As a professor of finance, for instance, your world is largely finance. If you show up late, if you're regularly tardy, it's disrespectful. And it's only going to harm you over the course of the semester. The professor's going to think you don't care. If they think you don't care, and it's that same A-, B+ situation, you're going to get graded down. Be on time. Just be on time. It's relatively straightforward. Number 7, avoid falling behind. The pace of learning in college is much, much, much faster. I mean, it puts high school to shame. And if you can't keep up in high school, it's going to be even more difficult to keep up in college. Once you fall behind, it can be very difficult to catch up. And I teach classes largely online now because of the nature of my work. I move around a lot. And I give folks an asynchronous schedule. So I essentially say, hey, here's what needs to be covered during the course of the semester. Here's how I would recommend doing it. I'm going to give you access to all the lectures up front. I'm going to give you access to the midterm around midterm time, to the final at the finals time. You have 2 papers due this date and this date. You manage your schedule as you see fit. The students that do best are the ones that either stick to my schedule or accelerate it. The students that really struggle are the ones that go, oh, well, I can get to that later. Oh, I don't have that due until next week. Oh, I don't need to go to class because it's all recorded and online. And then they're in the last week of class and they're like, Professor Barton, I can't keep up. I can't get caught up with my econ assignments. And I'm like, that's, sounds like a you problem. And so don't fall behind. There's just too much stuff. Avoid procrastinating. Begin writing papers and studying for tests early, and do it to the point that you know that you're going to be successful. Again, it's taking the stress off. You might feel like it's stressful to study. It's far more stressful to go in unprepared. Number 8, focus on taking great notes. It's hard to fail if you have great notes. It's hard to do well if your notes are terrible. If the professor mentions it or writes it on the board or pounds on the desk or says, you might see this again, it's imperative you write that down. I'm one where I can listen to a lecture, and when I write notes, the combination of listening to a lecture and writing notes accelerates my learning process. And it's that way for most people because you have a combination of the physical writing associated with both seeing the person talk as well as hearing the person talk. You're engaging multiple senses. That tends to imprint better. If you don't understand what the professor's saying, ask for clarification during class if the professor's open to it, or after class, or send the professor an email or an instant message and just say, hey, I didn't understand this, can you help? That's also one of the times to go to office hours and just ask for clarification. Professors will like the fact that you take a 5-minute or 10-minute block of their office hours with a succinct question, direct question, are in, understand what you're looking for, are able to get your answer, and then leave. That's exactly what they're looking for office hours. And the last kind of piece on the notes is guard your notes with your life. If you let someone borrow your notes, make sure it's a copy, not your originals, because you may not get those back, and sometimes just scanning those notes will flood back the memories of the lecture and give you good preparation for your exams. Number 9, set a schedule and follow it. You could do extremely well in college and still have a ton of free time. When I was in college, I scheduled my day, and a lot of you are going to think I was crazy. I scheduled my day by getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I did PT. I was an ROTC cadet. I did PT from 6 to 7, breakfast from 7 to 8, first class at 8 o'clock. All my classes were done by noon. From noon until 4:30 or 5 o'clock, I studied and did my homework. From 5 to 6, I ate dinner, and from 6 until I went to bed about 9:30, 10 o'clock on the weekdays, I was free. You can have plenty of free time in college, but you've got to stick to a schedule. You got to make a schedule that works for you and stick to it. If you plan your days wisely, you'll avoid wasting time, and you're going to have plenty of free time to do what you want and to be able to enjoy your college education. There's no reason you can't spend 8 hours a day in class and studying like I did, and my schedule worked out really well for me. I'm a morning person, so it helped, and that leaves you plenty of time to do what you want. Where you're going to run into trouble is if you don't set a schedule, or your days are really split up and you don't get into the groove of things. At that point, you're start, stop, and that makes it very difficult for you to have continuity in your day. Number 10, understand the importance of getting good grades. College isn't all about grades, and it's all about kind of learning how to learn. So that might sound like an oxymoron, but the higher your grades are, the more options you will have. Your first employer after graduation will be very interested in your academic record, especially if you're trying to get one of those high prestige jobs or limited opportunities to go into a high profile graduate school. You want to go to Harvard Law, you better make sure that you've got really good grades. You want to get that plum assignment if you're an ROTC cadet, you want to make sure you've got really good grades. You want to get into, the top consulting companies coming right out of college. You want to get into a top investment bank as an analyst. You want to go work for a Silicon Valley company that's going to, really take you to the next level. you better make sure you have good grades. It certainly is not going to hurt to have good grades. It can only help you. Not having good grades can hurt you. If you want to attend graduate or professional school, grades are critical. So you'll have a lot more options if your grades are good. College is a major investment of time and money. You're going to spend 4 to 5 years of your life and $100,000 to $200,000 in total getting that college degree, and that doesn't include lost opportunity cost for wages. A college degree will almost always pay for itself, but you've got to finish. So, it's a matter of start, manage your time, manage the process, and finish college. Make the most of your considerable investment. Show up to class, take good notes, stay on top of your assignments, establish great habits early in the first semester that you're there, and stick those habits through the rest of your life, and you're going to do extremely well. That's going to give you the right launch pad to be able to drive to FI. Until next time.